So the ministry itself is very interested in the 1 million. But again, we are looking at the risks. If somebody is a municipal chief executive or a district chief executive somewhere in Salaga, and you give him a threshold, let's say 1 million, the potential is that without 1 million, he doesn't need to consult anybody. Okay, we are also thinking about the risk factor. But I believe this coming week, working together with my chairman and the rest of the government, we'll try and get this issue resolved so that Parliament can pass this as part of the statutory legislation so that we can move faster. In that case, it's possible that we could say request for quotation, which is the lowest method of threshold, will not be, or that will give a blanket approval that anything below 1 million, you don't need to go. Okay, so that at least it can help us speed up our procurement activities. Contract broken down. Please, under Section 21, Section 5, we call that bond breaking, and it's an offense. And because it's an offense, Section 92 will kick in. You can go to jail. So anybody who does that and auditors take it up, there's a problem. Except in a situation where, in fact, when you do that, what it means that you are obviating the use of an appropriate method of procurement. Maybe it's national competitive tender. Presently, anything beyond 100,000 cedis, you have to advertise. But because the person doesn't want to advertise, he says, I'll do 50,000 now. 3 weeks later, I'll do another 90,000. When you do that, the law says that that is an offense. Okay, and so you might appear before Public Accounts Committee, and you hear what His Excellency said yesterday. And now, if you go there, you're not careful, the next place will be in Sawam. And I don't want any offense to go there. So please, that is what an offense. If you've done that, you might be thinking about the process of what ratifying what has been done because it's not permitted. Except if the funds that were given to you were given to you in tranches. You want to procure laptops for a project, they give you only to buy 2 today. And you need to use the 2 today. 3 weeks later, they give you an additional 1. In that case, you can explain to the auditors. But if the funds were there, they gave you commitment to buy all, then you decided that you were going to break it, then that becomes what an offense. PPP projects have responded to that already. Perception about corruption and what PPA is doing. Honorable asked that question. So PPA, capacity building is one of the key things we do at PPA. But remember that the issue of corruption is also very, very divisive. And it's an issue of our perception. Because handling with somebody who has given somebody money will come and tell you or go to court and testify. Because the person who gives the money himself is what? It's culpable. Okay, so I believe it's the issue of perception. All of us sitting here probably know about this. But we need to work together as what? Public officers, because we are the helm of affairs, to help reduce this. Because we are the ones who sign the contracts. We are the ones who initiate procurement processes. When requests are coming to PPA, we are the ones who sign under them. Please, let's be realistic. And that is why sometimes I tell people that I prefer single source procurement than restricted tender. Because single source, when you bring it, and I know the price is unreasonable, we have the right to cut it. Yes. By this competitive tender, the law says that give the contract to the lowest responsive tenderer. So even when they are colluding, there's nothing you can do. Okay, but I know this argument is quite debatable, but that is my personal view, that you can cut it. So please, let's submit to a realistic request. In terms of mortgage, you said individuals can, a company that's registered will be seen as an individual as well. Artificial human being. Okay, except that the Procurement Act doesn't cover the acquisition of what? Mortgages. There's a separate law on mortgages. And if you want to buy a property, we usually advise that you go to Lands Commission because they need to carry out value for money on what? That project. So you go to the Land Valuation Division of Lands Commission. The Executive Secretary, my brother, Prof, I think he's going to the washroom. So I think that's the advice I'll give you. So I think on this note, I've taken so much time from my... I will still be around, I'm not going home. So after the session, we can still meet and then interact. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Maite. Please come up stage. Please don't be in a hurry to There's a presentation. We want to procure something for you. So, to do the presentation, Dr.
Okay, I have question on one, but I'll be coming back tomorrow. Yeah. During the week, I am actually Zoom.
I would respectfully invite Mrs. Adelaide Ano Kumi, the former Chief Director, to do the presentation. Ministry of the Interior.
Okay, maybe next week Tuesday. Yeah, Tuesday. Around what time? Number 7.
When I am so single source. Thank you very much, Mr. Maite. Right, ladies and gentlemen, we are almost into the closing ceremony session. But before that, we'll take a 10 minutes cultural display. 5 minutes cultural display. So I would invite them in. Please, 5 minutes. You have just 5 minutes.
The slides on.
Cultural troop, what else can we say than to say Akwe ka 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 ka. Akwe ka 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 ka. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we are now into the last session of proceedings, and that is the closing ceremony. Which starts with the introduction of guests of honor. But before we do that, please permit me to acknowledge some institutions that help in ensuring the success of this conference. So we have the Volta River Authority, We Power Authority, National Health Insurance Authority, Forestry Commission, Ghana Export Promotion Authority, and the Ghana Revenue Authority. Others are the Ghana Education Trust Fund, the Ghana National Petroleum Commission, the Ghana Shippers Authority, National Communications Authority, Public Utilities Regulatory Commission, National Pensions Regulatory Authority, Petroleum Commission, and the Ghana Great Company Limited. The others include the Ghana Investment Promotion Center, National Petroleum Authority, Ghana Maritime Authority, Ghana Tibet Service, Ghana Ambulance Service, Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, Securities and Exchange Commission, Minerals Income Investment Fund, and Post Energies. The last of the group includes Social Security and National Insurance Trust, Ghana Civil Aviation Authority, Driver and Vehicle Licensing Authority, Electricity Company of Ghana Limited, and Ghana Water Company Limited. Our media partners also include the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation and Ghana News Agency. Please let us applaud them. Ladies and gentlemen, as you may have observed, we have a very distinguished personality in our midst. I would invite Dr. Mrs. Harriet Lisbeth Bani to introduce this dignitary for us.
His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Ghana, John Dramani Mahama, Toby Afede the 14th, Agbogbo Mefia of the Asogli State, President of Asogli Traditional Area, and Chairman for this conference, Honorable Ministers of State here present, the Chairman and the Vice Chairman of the Public Services Commission, distinguished persons of governing boards and councils, Chief Directors, Chief Executives of public sector institutions, our revered traditional rulers, members of the clergy, friends from the media, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is both a privilege and a great honor to introduce our guest of honor for this conference, a woman whose distinguished career is defined by an unwavering commitment to justice, social inclusion, and good governance. She is a seasoned human rights lawyer with over 30 years of experience in court practice, human rights advocacy and litigation, gender equity, and public sector reform. As regional coordinator of the Africa Office of the Commonwealth Human Rights Initiative, she worked at the intersection of law and civil society, leading powerful advocacy efforts that contributed to the passage of the Rights to Information Bill, the Domestic Violence Act, the Human Trafficking Act, and the Disability Act. She was also instrumental in the regional advocacy efforts that led to the adoption of the additional protocol to the African Charter on Human Rights of Women, amplifying protections for women across the continent. Later, as Minister for Gender, Children and Social Protection, she led transformative reforms that reshaped Ghana's social landscape. She spearheaded the establishment of the first formal social protection system in Ghana and launched the Ghana National Household Registry, a pioneering model in West Africa. Under her leadership, 5 essential national policies were developed and adopted: the gender policy, social protection policy, child and family welfare policy, justice for children policy, and the school feeding policy, frameworks that continue to protect and empower the vulnerable in Ghanaian society. Her global contributions were recognized in 2022 when the World Bank appointed her to its advisory council for the Partnership for Economic Inclusion. And today, she continues her life of service at the very heart of the national governance. She currently serves as the Deputy Chief of Staff in charge of administration at the Office of the President of the Republic of Ghana, a position that reflects the highest confidence in her experience, leadership, and commitment to public service. Distinguished guests, please join me in welcoming our guest of honor, Honorable Nana Oye Banku. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm very grateful for your kind words. Thank you. I cannot help but make some initial comments on the presentations, especially the panel discussion led by the head of the Office of Civil Service. And I also saw the former head, Nana, who loves chocolate. To get him to expedite the institutional framework for the Ministry of Gender, I made sure that after I returned from travels abroad, I sent him a whole pack of chocolates. So that is a little secret. Nana just did that. Yes, I'm happy you spoke about e-recruitment and also assessment. and in your in-service training. And it set me wondering whether for the civil service, the local government service, and the Public Services Commission, you have points of convergence, or whether you have an institutional mechanism where you meet at certain times, because there may be some joints and commonalities. So I was looking at that to address the silos that we find ourselves in. Is there an institutional mechanism that allows you to meet periodically to sort of share ideas or to look at realignment and all that, especially to address ills of corruption, procurement malpractices, and also efficiency in governance, and I think that is important. And then when we even go above, because the Deputy Majority Leader of Parliament is also here, for the judiciary, for executive arm of government, and for the legislative arm of government. We heard the President talking about convening a meeting with the Chief Justice to look at how we can address the infractions that as a result of the audit reports. So I'm wondering whether at that level, to their points, there's an institutional mechanism that allows these three arms of government to meet, even if periodically, to address like some of the points of convergence. Because Dr. Darko, you talked about co-creating. So how can we have these institutional mechanisms that would help us to co-create, to harness our strengths, or to identify some of the shortcomings and challenges? So I'm hoping this will be food for thought. You didn't give me the opportunity to ask questions, so I'll do this, yes. So our Deputy Majority Leader of Parliament, other honourable members of Parliament, our respected Togbe and Nananum here, Chairman of the Public Services Commission, Vice Chair, and members of the Public Services Commission, chairpersons of governing boards, councils of public service organizations, chief directors, chief executive officers of public service organizations, distinguished resource persons, our media friends and partners, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Chief of Staff, Mr. Julius Debra, I'm very honored to deliver the closing remarks at this 12th annual conference of chairpersons of governing boards and councils, chief directors, chief executives of the public services of Ghana. Let me first express my sincere appreciation to the Public Services Commission and the chairperson of this conference for putting together a highly impactful and forward-looking conference. Your tireless dedication to strengthening the machinery of governance is very commendable, and it clearly reflects the depth of deliberations that have taken place here over the past 3 days. The conference room is still full, and that speaks to the interests. I see my Chief Director here. Doctor, how are we? Let me acknowledge the Chief Director of the Office of the President. Let me also thank His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama for his visionary keynote address and policy directives, which have no doubt outlined a clear and ambitious path for public service transformation in Ghana. As the President announced yesterday, government is determined to institute and take drastic measures against individuals and public officers whose actions or inactions and whose negligence or willful action will lead to financial losses in the public sector. The President also has emphasized that the reset agenda is not only about transforming the economy of Ghana. It is also about strengthening accountability, strengthening transparency, and enhancing ethical governance. It provides a strong framework to address corruption, to strengthen good corporate governance, and also integrity in public life. We all acknowledge that corruption still remains one of the biggest threats to our development. And as public servants, we must join in the fight to prevent, to reduce, and ultimately totally eliminate, if possible, corruption. If we do not do that, our hard work in transforming and resetting this economy will yield very little results. One surest way of helping to address these ills is by upholding the highest standards of conduct and accountability. Since January 2025, under the leadership of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, the government has taken bold steps to embed ethics and accountability into public life. One clear example was the regime he put in place to ensure that we all declare our assets. These initiatives serve as a reminder to us all that good governance begins with personal integrity. And I'm hoping Public Services Commission, you will do your register and find out those who did not attend at all, and please take action. Those who were compelled to attend, were invited to attend, and did not attend at all. I think we should take action against them in one form or the other. The findings of the Auditor General, the works of the Public Accounts Committee of Parliament, and the ongoing Operation Recover or Loot, ORAL, are geared towards recovering state assets and protecting the public purse. These are signals that public office is an office of trust and not an avenue for private gain. The President has established the National Anti-Corruption Program, and it's in the process of adopting a new strategy, a national anti-corruption strategy. So very soon they will come around and discuss with you all. This underscores the need for collective responsibility, where every institution closes the gaps that enable misuse of power. Similarly, the Code of Conduct for Government Appointees and Officers was launched earlier this year by the President. This sets a moral benchmark for leadership and also enhances integrity in public service. Among other things, it bars appointees from acquiring state assets. It defines very clearly what constitutes conflict of interest. And also it prevents us from engaging in any act that constitutes procurement breaches or conflict of interest. As senior public officers in leadership positions, let us draw inspiration from these reforms that have been initiated by our President. This will lead to transparency. This will help us to manage resources responsibly, and this will help and hold ourselves to the same standards we expect of others, especially those we lead. This is the true spirit of the Reset Agenda. Over the past 3 days, several key priorities have emerged from this conference, which is under the theme, Strengthening Public Sector Leadership and Governance to Enhance Service Delivery. We have built consensus on the need to review and renew our efforts at our various boardrooms, our various sectors, our various departments, to protect the gains that have been made. These are some of the key priorities. 1, the full integration of public sector institutions into the Human Resource Management Information System. 2, the rollout of the Linking Pay to Performance and Productivity, LPPP framework, in January 2026. 3. Achieving a minimum 30% representation as an obligation under the Gender Equity Act. So last year, Parliament passed the Gender Equity Act. And under Schedule 1 of the Act, we are supposed to reach a 30% quota representation for women in all our institutions. And we know that the end of the year is coming, and we as government will be marked and assessed. So I pause here and I plead with each and every one of you. Please do an assessment, an analysis, take up data, especially HR, and ascertain whether or not your employees women constitute 30% representation. If it's more, we'll be happy. So let me congratulate Council of State, 55% representation. So please, we will be measured 30% minimum representation of women. So if you are going to do any recruitment, we are hoping Honorable Atuposin will give financial clearance. Please note that you must hit 30% representation of women in your institution. Then we have the development of institutional plans to support the 24-hour economy program. And let me also commend you, especially the sector ministries, because you responded to our call and nominated 2 persons each from your respective ministries to be the focal persons for the 24-hour economy. Let me assure you of our maximum 120% support from the Office of the President. We remain committed to supporting these reforms and driving home the culture of accountability and performance at all levels of the public sector. Before I close, I'll leave you with 6 key points that should guide your leadership and strengthen your role as ambassadors of the Reset Agenda. 1. Lead lives of integrity and avoid all forms of corruption. 2. Uphold accountability. This is the foundation of the Reset Agenda. 3. Contribute to improving Ghana's standing on the Corruption Perception Index through transparency and ethical conduct. 4. Guard against procurement breaches and conflicts of interest. 5. Please commit to continue self-assessment and exemplary service that inspires trust in public institutions. 6. And finally, in today's age of new media and artificial intelligence, we must innovate ways to improve productivity, delivery of results, and efficiency by adopting information, communication, and technology. We can rely on the same to supervise and monitor daily tasks to improve accountability. There was a talk by our Chief Director from the Ministry of Education on webinars, and I'm encouraging us and Public Services Commission to enhance efficiency by holding periodic Teams meetings or Zooms meeting, disseminating the information that at the end of this quarter, we are holding a meeting 1 hour, 2 hours on, let's say, procurement, and then invite us all to do this online. And I believe this would really help. Let's make use of technology to enhance efficiency in our organizations. Ladies and gentlemen, Chair of the Public Services Commission, may we all leave here determined to build a public service that is truly fit for purpose and worthy of the trust that the people of Ghana have placed in us. To our resource persons, Akpe, thank you for your expertise, for your time, and your invaluable insights. Auntie Esther, thank you so much to you and your team of resource persons. To the entire organizing team, please stand up for a clap. You have done very well. Thank you very much to the organizing team. Thank you, William. And to our hosts here in Ho, Walter Serene, all the waiters, the chefs, all those, the receptionists, all of you, Walter Serene, we say thank you very, very much for helping to ensure that we have a successful conference. Please, there's going to be a lot of dancing, a lot of singing, a lot of food, a lot of wine, a lot of networking. So each and every one of us must attend the networking dinner. I can see Professor Gachi here. We're going to have the opening dance. I haven't seen you in a long while. So Prof and I are going to start the dancing. He's going to select the music and we're going to dance. So please come and watch us. Yes, this evening is going to be exciting, it's going to be memorable. And the conversations we have started here will continue. And tomorrow morning, I wish you all safe travels back to your various destinations and continued success. Thank you, and may God bless our homeland, Ghana. Please, am I getting it wrong? I think I like Dr. Darko's bag.
Please, another round of applause for the Honorable Deputy Chief of Staff Administration. Honorable, thank you very much for sharing your thoughts with us. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we are inching closer to the very end of the program. Next on the agenda, there will be presentation of certificates. The certificate of participation are ready for each and every one of us, but we have randomly selected some because of time purposes. They cannot be issued to each and every one of us here. So some random selection has been made, and
it's not a certified course.
So a few have been selected which will be issued here. The rest are ready on the second floor next to the service room on the second floor. So if yours is not presented here, right after this session, you respectfully walk up there and take it. To do the presentation for us, I would invite first of all, let me indicate that 3 people are going to do the presentation. The first is Nana Obin Pokutano II, Chief of Kweu Bukrua and the former Chief Director. So please hold yourself in readiness. Then also, Honorable Kweku Ricketts Hagan, who is the Deputy Majority Leader and the Board Chair of Ghana Revenue Authority. Then, our Honorable Deputy Chief of Staff will also do the third presentation for us. So, I would invite the Chairman of the Public Services Commission and the Vice upstage to do the presentation for us. Sorry. Okay. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. Right. So for each institution that will be mentioned, the certificates have been put together. So if we have 3 reps from an institution, they have all been put together. So when the institution's name is called, we will invite the board chair to come. If the board chair is not here, maybe the chief executive or all of them. Okay, right. So I respectfully invite Nana Obin Pokutano II, Chief of Kweu Bukrua and the former Chief Director, to join me upstage to do the presentation. Let's welcome him. So the first on the list is
what happens is that, please, the different offices have different colors, and that's what I wanted to explain. So I'm very bad. I nearly failed my primary school, university primary. They asked me colors. I only know 4 colors. Yes, red, gold. So I don't know whether this is yellow or this is gold. So you see, I wouldn't now. So those with gold are the board chairs. Have that. Then so this is for the CEO, and the green is for the chief directors. So
thank you for the explanation, Chairman. So once the institution is mentioned, the reps, the board chair, the chief executive, and the if they are here, they come up stage for it. So the first institution is Electricity Company of Ghana. Electricity Company of Ghana.
Golden award.
We're not taking our life. Our champion, the power system has been hosted with
Thank you very much, ECG. Thank you very much, ECG. No. Next is the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission. PURC. 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 Okay. The next, National Communications Authority. National Communications Authority, not here. Driver Vehicle and Licensing Authority. DVLA. What is here? Please, when you come on stage, use this side. Thank you very much, DVLA. Nana, we thank you very much for doing us this service. Next, there's a presentation going to the Office of the President, and we shall invite the Chief Director, and we shall invite Nana Kweku Ricketts-Hagan, Deputy Majority Leader, and Honorable Kweku Ricketts-Hagan, Deputy Majority Leader and Board Chair of GRA.
one detailed question.